Hello everyone, and welcome to the third and last video of the Sword and Shield Masterclass series. The goal of this video is to teach you the skills and the knowledge that you need to know to master the Sword and Shield. In this video, I assume you know all the basic inputs as well as all the combos. If you don't know all of this and do not have at least 20 hours of SNS gameplay, my previous two videos in the series are for you. Here are all the hard techniques and the tips that will help you master the Sword and Shield. As you've been playing for a while now, you should be able to use the combos without focusing too much on them. This will allow you to watch the monster carefully. The backstep mid combo is always backwards to your character's back, which means that projectile as well as beam attacks can hardly be dodged with the backstep in a combo. It's appropriate for rolls, tail swipes, front limb attacks, and AoE type attacks centered on the monster. Learn by trial and error which attack you should backstep and which you should roll or block. If you identify the incoming attack and know you can't backstep it, roll to the direction that will avoid it. At first, avoiding attacks is enough. Then, before even dodging, you should know how to combo the backstep. 4 options are open: advancing slash, charge slash, leaping slash, or rising slash. The advancing slash is a good way to quickly get back to attacking with low animation commitment. The charge slash can be used when you want to mount the monster, as you follow it with a jumping attack. After a charge slash, you can also do a falling bash to dodge some attacks and do good damage. But the animation is long and you won't hit with all parts of the attack every time. The leaping slash is to start the perfect rush combo, which is your most damaging combo, but is only safe if you have an opening. The rising slash is the fastest way to be ready to dodge again or attack. It's also static and can be followed by a B or Y combo. Don't feel discouraged if at first you fail some dodges. In time, you will get consistent results. Running rising slash. This technique is to maximize precision and the frostcraft gauge. You simply run to where you'll be hitting, press your assigned guard button, and press Y immediately after the guard. The run is cancelled, the guard animation is cancelled, and you directly go into a combo opener. The Clawryuken, as I call it, is a new ability in Iceborne that can only be performed after a roll followed with a left trigger input. Just after you roll, press L2 once or spam the button. Don't hold the button or you'll aim with the slinger. The only problem with this move is that you can only do it with your weapon drawn. To negate this issue, you can shield, then dodge, then press the left trigger. You'll see your character smoothly roll to the Clawryuken if you did it right. An example of when to use it would be to grab onto the monster as it roars. Additionally, this new move now can weaken a monster just by doing this move twice, or by doing one grab with it and a clutched attack. A great opportunity to do it is when a monster is claggered. You refresh the clagger timer, do half a wound, and can jump off and get back to attacking. The animation is a bit long, and your character moves forward quite a bit in the direction of your roll, so practice a bit before trying this. In this clip, I lowered my defense and hit a bomb. I took a bit of damage, and I will do the same thing now with the Clawryuken. Now, I only take half of the damage. When you have a long opening, start with a perfect rush, but roll after the 3-hit attack. Combo the roll with a backstep, and do another perfect rush. This technique does great damage, but requires a long opening. You should know by now that some attacks can be redirected. This is especially used for the perfect rush combo and the falling bash combo. It allows you a bit of control and turn some miss into hits. To redirect an attack, simply tilt the left stick towards where you want to hit. Note that if your character isn't looking in the same direction as the camera, things can get tricky. When you get hit by some strong attacks, your character will fall to the ground. If you shield as you rise, you can protect yourself from an attack that might otherwise kill you. You can also delay when you rise by not inputting commands as you're lying down. At some point, your character will automatically rise, so try to find a safe moment to do so. To protect yourself from some attacks, you can grab onto the monster to a safe location on his body, allowing you to stay on the offensive when other players with a slower clutch claw animation would have to dodge or shield. After the last hit of a mount, as you're falling down, you can clutch onto the monster to do a clutched attack. This can be used to maximize your DPS uptime and weaken a part. To quickly continue your basic static combo, after a monster moves away a small distance, you can dodge to spiral slash. It's faster than cheating and running a small distance, or just walking. When not in a combo, to access the backstep, the fastest way is to shield and then pull back and press B. You can do backsteps in all directions, though be mindful that you need to pull the left directional pad to the opposite side your character is facing. This is interesting to avoid certain attacks, doing a sideways backstep, for example, to avoid a charge or going through a beam attack, and many other situations. That's it for the tips and techniques. Now let's get onto the knowledge part of the video. Knowledge in Monster Hunter is almost equivalent to efficiency. This information isn't specific to the sword and shield, but it should be known nonetheless. I'll explain how to choose what build to use when going to fight a monster, how to evaluate a weapon. I'll finish the video with some item tips that make life easier. I'm not going to explain in depth how damage works in Monster Hunter World. I recommend checking out some videos by the Monster Hunter Mask guys. I'll drop some links in the description if you want to dive deeper in the subject. Before fighting a monster, you want to figure out what build to use against it. For the SNS, almost all monsters can be fought matching their elemental weaknesses. However, if fighting multiple monsters, or if fighting a monster that's pretty resistant to element such as Kushala Daora or No Gigante, or a monster which elemental weak point isn't really accessible, you might want to play a raw build. Raw means the non-elemental value that is used to calculate attack power. Some monsters, such as Namiel or the Zinogers, have moments in their fight where element is less effective. For these, a raw build can be optimal. Knowing the elemental weakness, such as they are displayed in-game, is not enough. You can find a 3-star weak monster that actually doesn't take damage from this element unless certain conditions are met. What you need to know is how weak to physical and elemental each part of the monster you're fighting is. Only then can you make an educated choice: is element worth it or not? To learn this, I recommend using the website Kiranico. When selecting a monster under Physiology, you have every zone and the value. This is called a hit zone chart. The higher the value, the higher the damage. Or, if you want to go even further, you can use the set builder made by Honey over at Honeyhunterworld.com. With this tool, you can create a virtual version of your sets. And not only does it has every hit zone of every monster, but it can also calculate how much damage you deal to that monster. When evaluating a weapon's power level, multiple elements must be taken into account: attack power, element, sharpness, affinity, and other utilities. The most important one is obviously attack. All weapons benefit greatly from higher attack. Hammers, greatswords, longswords, some bow guns, and the gun lance are weapons that almost only benefit from higher roll. These weapons aren't very compatible with element, because of the current elemental system. Elemental damage is generally not move dependent and is applied on each hit instead of being a % of your weapon's attack, for example. The result is that weapons that hit more often apply more element than others. Generally they are dual blades, insect glaive, some guns, bows, and the SNS. You usually want white sharpness. That is because compared to blue, you have 12% more damage, and you rarely bounce from hard monster parts. Purple is often a trap. It only gives around 5% more damage than white, and weapons with purple sharpness are often balanced with at least 5% less raw to have it, making them suboptimal. However, purple sharpness inflicts around 10% more element damage than white. The element compatible weapons in an elemental build deal around 30% elemental damage at most with their best elemental combos. So 10% more element gives around 3% more damage. These values are to be taken with a pinch of salt. They help give you an idea, but aren't always perfectly accurate. Affinity is not the most important stat. Any percentage helps getting to 100 affinity, which is a prerequisite for any build in my opinion. But even if your weapon has no affinity at all, you can easily get to 100% affinity. Having negative affinity is not an issue if it's -10 or -15, but more than that, and it becomes quite difficult to reach 100% affinity, and is often not worth it. Every build should also use crit boost level 3, which improves critical hits by an additional 15%. Note that crit boost does not work with elemental damage. Only elemental crit, and its improved version, improves your elemental damage when you crit. Finally, weapons might have slot for decorations or defense, or maybe a skill. Most of the time, it's a secondary consideration. The last tips are about the items that help you. When sharpening, don't use the default option. Use the Wet Fish Fin Plus that you can obtain in A Fish to Whet Your Appetite. This item has a low probability of being used, so even though you only carry 5, it lasts for a long time. You can sharpen your weapons in only one stroke with it, and since you can sharpen with your weapon drawn, you won't lose too much time sharpening your weapon. This item, coupled with the sharp decoration, has rendered Master's Touch obsolete in my opinion. When hunting, healing with max potions instead of mega potions represents a huge time save. Make that even better by adding the max potion to your radial menu, and always carry 5 mandragora and 5 mega nutrients to craft even more max potions. You can craft more potions simply by using the max potions in the radial menu. If you don't have any left, it will automatically craft one if you have the materials in your inventory. I'd also recommend having Dust of Life and the ingredients to craft more. And this concludes the third and probably last part of the Sword and Shield Masterclass. I really think this is the best weapon in the game. It's quite hard to master, but it's very rewarding. Never stop improving, and thanks for watching.